Hello everyone, welcome back. Paul Tranny here, hosting the one and only Caitlin Cadieux. That's
Me?
You are the one and only, yay! You're our favorite, Caitlin.
Too much.
Yes, you are our
The
favorite.
favorite of all the Caitlin
Of all the
Cadieux.
Caitlins, yes. All right, Paul, good to have you here. By the way, we're going to dive into animation, so motion graphics. And I like this. This is day 2. You did a fantastic job yesterday. I think it's largely about the fundamentals since it's all about Creative Campaign this week. We just, of course, had Claude and Gus up who are doing UX, UI. And then, of course, we also had Christine this morning doing the graphic design part of this. And we can just kind of take a look at that real fast. Please, a little shout out if you're just joining us for the first time. But again, Christine was up this morning. She'll be back up tomorrow morning as well. Claude is doing some UX, UI, and now we get to have some fun doing some animation. So that's what's going on right now. So give Caitlin a warm welcome. We want to welcome you as well. Hazel and Cindy and Olma and Jackie Lay as well.
What's up, Jackie?
Get involved. We have daily submissions as well, like the challenge and the challenge tab. We are at day 2. Day 1 was a lot of fun, by the way, taking it up a notch, and we're developing a festival poster for David Bowie. And then tomorrow is portfolio reviews, so we'll be doing that as well. So thank you so much, Daniel and Marcine. Thanks for hanging out. Dana Pride's in the house. So yeah. All right, enough of my jibber jabber.
It was good. You got it all.
Got it, and
It's
done.
all-
And done.
Everything
No.
on the...
No. Anyways, Jan Eric, there. Jan Eric, I got you, buddy.
Yeah, shout out to everybody in the chat who's recognizing this. I'm bringing the horse back.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It wasn't intentional, actually, believe it or not. I am not that conniving, but I don't know. It's fate.
Yes.
It's serendipitous.
Thank you, Heidi. Very well said. Dressed in dressage.
That's how I live my life.
So key. That's awesome. So yeah, this is fun. Happy to have you here. I like how you even match you're getting ready for this. I like that
Last
move.
time I'm like,
Oh yeah.
you can't hear anything. Nothing is cracking.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Evan Abrams, for joining us as well. Hosted Caitlin last time and did a fantastic job. So you can watch all those recordings, even from last year to even yesterday's as well, if you want to get caught up. But you developed some of this.
Hey, Ashley.
Do you know her?
Yes,
Okay.
I do. Very well.
Awesome.
She's my senior producer.
Oh,
Thank you for watching.
thank you for what? Ashley, we love her. Like, she's doing fantastic.
Paul,
Totally into.
Too kind.
No, she's awesome. She's awesome. So I'd consider yourself super lucky, Ashley. That's all I'm saying.
Keep
Super
going.
awesome.
Don't stop now.
She just knocked this out. Yeah. Well, again, you kind of picked this apart yesterday. I learned so much, and I'm slowly being hypnotized by this motion.
I'm here to
I'm
keep
into
that
it.
going. Who knows what'll happen on day 3?
Who knows? Who knows what we're going to be doing on day 3 after you've hypnotized us for 3 days?
That's true.
So.
It could get strange.
Oh, Ashley
Hopefully not.
says she loves you.
Thank you.
Yeah. How could you not? That's awesome. So it is really cool. I think it's, and again, I don't know if you want to kind of just do a quick recap of yesterday, kind of like, you don't have to redo everything,
Yeah.
but just kind of quick,
Because yesterday we ran through this. I just wanted to break down, the individual ways that I animated on all these bits and pieces that, come together into this like final logo animation. And so what we looked at was the A first off, and I'll just like dive into its own little.
Is it okay
prompt here.
if Ashley knows how some of this works?
Yes.
Because
oh
I
my
think
God.
I think it's really cool. I think you
Yeah,
demystify.
totally.
This looks very complex, but the way you broke it down, this is awesome. The way you broke it down,
Thank you.
just demystified it. I was like, I feel like I could do it.
Yeah, I think it helps a lot, especially animation. People like to be like, oh my God, like how did you do this? Because it's not very apparent from the outside, and so I like to like crack it open for people that don't animate,
Yeah.
and just kind of like show the sometimes messy process that goes into stuff like this. So I just, quickly run through that this element's made up of a bunch of strokes with just the stroke width animated, and then masked out by the letter form of the A as a shape layer. And then that's all there is to the A. And likewise, we went over the Y, and it's really similar. Instead of doing stroke widths, it's just a shape layer of a star, duplicated, scaling up, colored with the colorama effect on an adjustment layer, which you can see here. It's a pretty cool way to play around with the coloring a bunch of different elements.
That was a fun trick too, because you just established a series of grays, and you're like, I'll figure out those colors later.
Right. And
Which
it's
is
like that way you can, fudge around with this one thing, and it changes the colors. You don't have to pick and choose. Hey, Nick.
Hey, Marvin Schweibold in the house. Good to have you, man. He's does UX UI. One of my favorite people as well. I love Claude. I love Marvin. It's
awesome.
Cool, and it's cool having these weeks where we get to bring out the
thank you for
the best of the
checking it
best. So.
That's the star. Definitely check out Colorama. That's really fun. Without this, you can see all the star elements are grayscale.
How did you where did you learn this?
That is a great question.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of like a to each their own thing. I don't remember where I heard of Colorama, but I would frequently watch tutorials for things that I don't necessarily have an immediate need for. And I'm pretty sure at some point somebody in a tutorial somewhere used Colorama, and I just remembered that it has this handy kind of wheel situation. There's a lot of different stuff you can do to animate with it. And some people say it's better to there's a lot of online education out there, a lot of tutorials now, and some people say that it's better to only watch them when you need them. And I kind of agree with that in a way, because there's you can kind of like fast food tutorials and just like binge on a bunch of them, and you're not really like retaining a lot of it. But I don't always think that that's true. I mean, sometimes I've gotten a lot of benefit by just watching tutorials just to see. You learn keyboard shortcuts you didn't know that way. I'm pretty sure I shouted out this series last time I was on Adobe Live, but School of Motion, I mean, obviously has a ton of like fantastic courses, and yeah, they're kind of a powerhouse in the motion education game. I think it's still free. It was free when I ran through it, but they have a course that's 30 days of After Effects, and it's just a bunch of really different, really cool stuff, 30 different videos. Just of animating, like morphing letter forms, or like putting an animated screen into like a 3D iPhone, like a bunch of different stuff. But I learned so many little things about After Effects from watching that, because I learned the keyboard shortcuts I didn't know. I learned about effects that I didn't know about before. So I do recommend just kind of, if you ever have a day where you're like, I just want to learn stuff, go to a site like School of Motion, go, YouTube, and just see what's out there, because it's just a good way to keep updated with what, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah, exactly. And that is really good, and I think those formats are awesome. Also, again, just thank you everybody for joining us, by the way. This is your chance. One thing you can't do on YouTube necessarily is ask the recorded video a question.
True.
I mean, you could check comments later, but you, by all means, ask Caitlin any questions that you might have. We're here to demystify things, basically. But thank you so much for that resource. I think it's really cool. This is how people learn these days, online through videos.
And people in the chat are mentioning Evan Abrams tutorials, and they are really good.
It's Evan Abrams mentioning Evan Abrams.
Evan
I'm
Abrams
just joking.
repping Evan Abrams.
No, he hasn't even done that. I would be. If I was Evan Abrams, I'd be like, you need to come watch all my videos because I'm awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it's not wrong.
Yeah.
Especially if you want to get into some really cool expression stuff, Evan Abrams knows all of that.
Yeah.
Everything. Single
just
one.
Everything. Yeah.
I have heard. So, confirm, deny, Evan in the chat.
Yeah.
So
he's a good guy. Well, and I like how I feel like you made this look pretty easy. I mean, this is all coming together. There's parts of this that I maybe don't understand, but I could see how you did the star, and then you masked it out, of course, masked out with a Y.
Yeah. So we still have the I here that ends up resolving into the O, and then this T animation. And we opened up the T yesterday, but we didn't really dive into it. So I think we can crack that open, and then depending on where we go, I'd like to show you how I kind of did this streaky background element too.
Yeah, and I'm interested in the eye as well.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a 3D rotation there or something.
Yeah, I love that. And that is, all of this is relatively simple to throw together. I'm gonna start off with a T because it's pretty simple. But there's just a little bit of fudging that I did with this, and I just wanted to have something different instead of using, another mask with flashing colors and stuff.
I'm noticing a little bit of a bounce there. You talked about the easing yesterday. It sounds like you did a little extra motion graph.
Yeah,
magic.
I think I might have keyframed that.
Okay.
So let me see. Crack this open again. So maybe it looks like there's a lot going on here, but it's not too crazy. And so I have this red lightning bolt, and then I also have the blue one, and they're very similar. So you can see, I have the blue element coming onto, and it's just a duplication of the red lightning bolt, and then I fudged with a little bit of the stuff. So
okay.
And then for the T,
can you? And I'm noticing some new things, and I don't. Maybe you can zoom in on the keyframes there. There's some different shapes.
Yes. So these,
I noticed the easing ones, which kind of look like.
This a little hourglass type
hourglasses
of shape. These are hold keyframes, and I want to see what's an easy way to show this.
How do you close all the options at the same time? Ashley's asking.
Do you mean collapsing all the layers?
I think so.
I mentioned.
Is there a shortcut for it? What are you?
Yeah,
U?
it's U. And so when I was talking about some of these layer drop downs and stuff shortcuts, keyboard shortcuts for that. So, if I wanted to see all the keyframed element on this red lightning layer, I'd click on the red lightning layer and I'd hit U, and it'll just bring up everything that I've keyframed. And if I hit U again, it'll close it. If you don't have any layers selected and you hit U, it'll open every layer's keyframed elements. So it's really just a matter of selection, and if I wanted to see only these three, highlight them, hit U.
And yeah, that's perfect. And what if you wanted to just see the transparency for a layer, for instance, or you're or the prop, is it position? P?
Position, yeah, P for position. So, and again, if you don't have any layer selected and you hit P, it's gonna open position for all of them.
That's so nice. Because you start to realize screen real estate gets to be pretty important as you start adding more and more properties and layers and all this fun stuff.
And same for T, and then if I only want to see the opacity on this layer, highlight it, hit T. So once you learn those, it gets a little bit more intuitive. You'll notice I do this a lot where I'm having to check what keyboard it is, what button it is, because I'm so used to just doing it by muscle memory. So
yeah, I'm into it. Looks like awesome. You can do it, as Kevin says, but it looks like we have some good. Simon knows what's up. If you hit U twice, U.
Yes.
It'll open up all the edited properties, I guess.
Which can be handy. It's stuff that hasn't necessarily been keyframed, but something that maybe you adjusted
and don't get intimidated right now, because I think if somebody was just joining us on this screen, they'd be like, what is happening?
There's not that much going on.
I'm here for fun animation, and I just see stuff.
Yeah. Oh, and a quick reminder too, the tilde key, it's it's this little squiggle that's right under your escape key. If you hover your cursor over any of these panels and you hit that, it'll solo that little thing. So if I just want to see this, it's a little squiggly key.
Line.
We mentioned that yesterday, but it is super handy for not being overwhelmed by everything that's going on screen, especially if you have a ton of layers. Yeah, so.
Yeah, and you're right. Kendall says it looks more complicated than it actually is.
Right. That's like After Effects' thing. It really, there is a lot, but there's a lot of stuff you don't need to know to start to dive in and start learning stuff and start making cool things. Just kind of getting through that overwhelm. And just learning some of the basics, you can really hit the ground running.
Yeah, definitely don't get overwhelmed. And even if you are, you could at least maybe win the chat and win. That's going to be happening in about 15 minutes.
That is true.
Dude, if you're ever feeling lost, ask questions.
Hang in there.
We'll still break it up with fun giveaways, and then we also have the challenge if you want to get involved as well, which is in the challenge tab. We're making posters.
And they're going to be sweet.
And that's what's fun, because I think, and somebody mentioned, there's no shortcut for good design. you having a graphic design background, and even kind of taking a step back, starting this animation, you had the graphics and then you had some ideas, right?
Right.
And I think just a lot of graphic design went into it before you started animating, of course. Like, right? I mean, you had
I
the
think so,
layout
yeah.
for this.
I approached
You had
things
some of
from-
these elements. You're like, okay, that'd be kind of
Right.
fun to plug that in there.
And that's, yeah, like having the lightning bolt, I was like, I could just see how could I incorporate this into the animation. It's, it's a great element. I use the star. Like, what can I do with a lightning bolt? And to me, it just made sense. Like it's a pretty vertical element. It's pretty thick at the top of it. And that's why I thought, it'd be cool to put it on this vertical T piece.
Yeah.
And how it's transitioning into, it goes from the lightning bolt shape. This is just by animating path points.
And you're just using your arrow keys, right?
Yes. Right now I'm just flipping through it like one frame at a time by holding Command and like right or left arrow keys. You can just...
Okay.
So you can kind of see what's going on here.
Yeah, so if you could see Dominic, by the way, Caitlin's kind of going over that because the lightning bolts don't really turn into the T. It's like they're on a layer, they disappear, right? You just chop them off, which is right down here.
Yep.
See how that line ends, says I don't exist anymore, and then at the same time is when that...
Yeah, so if you notice, I have the T layer here, but the only thing that is visible from this layer is just the top part. I have it animating on with this matte it's just a stroke, and the width of it is animating, and then I'm using this. I went over these yesterday, but so the actual T layer is I have an alpha matte, and so oh no, that is not. Here we go. This is its own shape layer. This little. No, I wanted to grab this. This is its own little layer, and all it is just a shape layer, stroke with a stroke width animated, and then I use that. Go down to the T layer, put it on alpha, which will turn this off, and then so it's revealing just only this top part of the T. And what I ended up doing to get the lightning bolt to turn into the bottom part of the T is I cheated in a way. That's kind of animation. You kind of like as long as it looks right, it's right.
Yeah.
So this is like the base T shape. I'll bring it up here. Just a normal T. And what I did was, I'll put it in here, reduce the opacity. I'm gonna get rid of everything except for this. Pay no mind to what I'm doing at this moment.
Oh,
Okay.
You're good.
What I wanted to do was make sure that the lightning shape animated into exactly the right rectangle shape and size as the bottom of the T. And so I start, it starts from here as the lightning bolt shape, and you can see I have path keyframed. And so in any shape layer, there's usually a path that you can manipulate the points individually. So I put a keyframe here. I'm gonna take that off and put a keyframe on path, and then if I go down, not all full 10, I kind of want it to be fast, so I'll scroll down to where it was, and then what I did was literally just move these points into place. And so you can see now there's a keyframe there. This is saving this new path information. And then once I've put all of these points into place, since I keyframed it as when it was still the lightning bolt shape, it'll go between them. So now if I go here, we have our lightning bolt again. Ooh, it's a little bit hard to look at.
Yeah. See, it's like morphing into that new shape. That's cool. I'm interested in, and there's some questions in here. McNeil will answer that question. That's a good one. In general, when you import an Illustrator file, how do you have access? Is that path automatically there, or do you have to convert a Illustrator graphic into a path?
There's multiple ways to do this. I'm gonna start
And maybe you start.
something fresh so
Yeah.
you can see. I think I use a third-party plugin to do this, which I will show you, to import paths into After Effects, and it works really fantastic. And if you're gonna get one plugin for After Effects, this is the one that I absolutely, extremely highly recommend. But I'll show you how to do it kind of like the old school way. A lot of the artwork I start out with is in Illustrator. I'm very comfortable working in Illustrator, and it obviously works really well with After Effects. And I did not, design the logo or anything for this, but it's all Illustrator originally. So I'll open up. We have this comp just has all the design elements.
There's a good question.
Is it about the sketching?
Yeah.
Yeah, a couple people are asking in the chat about sketching, and yes or no. I do work in a sketchbook a lot and put down ideas for stuff like this animation. I ended up putting in the logo, and then I just kind of got started in After Effects, because sometimes if you don't necessarily have a specific goal in mind for the animation, you just want to play around and see what looks good, and that is a valid way to do it. For my longer animations, I storyboard everything first, and sometimes you want to thumbnail motion or just like sketch ideas that you think might be cool. But I definitely do that a lot. I kind of wish I did not bring my sketchbook, but there's a lot of stuff that I do in like pen and paper, just to kind of help you like think through stuff or plan ahead. Like planning can help a lot when you're working in animation.
Yeah, definitely. And again, I don't like hard and fast rules. Like it just depends on the job. If you are doing some bigger,
Right.
like I think this week you said you're working on like a 90-second piece.
Yeah.
Telling a story. You might actually
I can,
storyboard that out or kind of write some things down.
I can show you what that looks like actually, if that's cool. For like most of my projects, I put the storyboards online. So like I drew all of these in Photoshop, and I'll usually thumbnail these first really sloppily in a sketchbook on paper, and then I will clean this up, like do a little bit more clean drawings in Photoshop, and this is what I sent for approval before I actually animate it. But that's like where planning really helps. If I'm just, doing a logo animation, a lot of the time I won't really draw anything out unless I just kind of want to visualize an idea that I've never done before, I don't know. Usually I like to just start playing around in After Effects when it's something like that, because you can get very quick review of whatever you're trying to do. So yeah, it just depends.
I love it. I love seeing this too, by the way.
I like looking at the storyboards. It's so funny, and seeing how things change between like what you plan out on paper and then the final. So definitely something that I would recommend. I do this for all of my long form stuff.
Yeah, into it. Very cool.
So importing into Illustrator. So like, let's say we just want to take in this lightning bolt. I'm gonna copy and paste this into its own little comp, little file, so we can just get rid of all the noise. Maybe I'll scale this up. Bigger. Okay. So I want to, take this Illustrator path and put it into After Effects. How you can do it right now with no third-party plugins is you can save this, and I will put it just on the desktop. Lightning bolt. Okay. Got it. And I will go to After Effects, and let's make a folder for this so it's all organized and practice what I preach. So I'll import it. I want to put it in this folder, so I have the folder highlighted in my project panel, which is this dealie here.
Yeah, there we go. Project
Zoom
panel,
in.
you guys seen that? Like those could be. I'm just trying to think of. These are like your documents.
Yeah,
Basically.
this is basically where all your like assets are and all of your comps. And if I want to switch between comps, they all live in this window. So I will. I never import any like without using the keyboard shortcuts, so I'm sure like, you know, one of these buttons does it, but if you just have this highlighted and hit Command I, it'll open up this
for import
Finder window. Yeah, Command I for import. And so I'll go to the desktop where I know I saved that, and there it is, lightning bolt. So there it is now, and it's an Illustrator file. So right now I can't access the points on this actually. I drag it into my comp.
Yeah, so this is how it usually comes in.
Yeah.
Got it. Yep. Totally.
And so, you know, right now I can't go in and animate the points. I want this to be a shape layer. So you would right click on this in here, and you would go to create and go to create shapes from vector layer.
Yeah.
So this is, again, just right-clicking on your Illustrator layer and going to create shapes from vector layer. And so if you...
Yeah, boom, there you are.
Yeah, if you click that, now you have it. And if I, you know, go up in here, type in path, I can get the path points. So I could put a keyframe here, and, you know, you could do something super crazy and just, like, pull all these out.
Can you natively, I don't know if it's natively, but can you change the color of it? Is there a color in there?
Yes. So with any shape layer, if you click, you know, on this, it should come in with a fill most of the time. So you can just come up and click on this fill section and change it to whatever. You can come over here and get one of your swatches. So that's the basics of it. This can get a little more complicated if you want to put it, you know, use more complex artwork in Illustrator. This can start to get a little
messy,
hectic.
Yep. That's what I was going to ask. Like, you know, depending on how complex it is in Illustrator, you might not want to convert it to a path. It could just be really ugly.
Yeah.
If there's like compound paths and things like that,
Right.
I don't know how those are going to come in.
Yeah, so that's definitely something to keep in mind, is like prepping artwork to be animated and be in After Effects. Like there's very specific things that you need to do depending on what it is, but that is like a whole topic unto itself, and some of it is just you learn it by trial by error. But yeah, like clipping masks in Illustrator, like do not, that is, like it does not, it looks right, but like it's not animatable. I don't have a good example of that here, but just something to be aware of is prepping artwork that looks right in Illustrator doesn't always mean that it'll be animated, like animatable. Once you take it into After Effects, you might have to tweak it in Illustrator first.
Yeah. Perfect case for this though, because very flat, one shape, you're like, oh, I can morph this into
super simple.
anything else. And I think that might be another question. I'm not trying to get us off the subject, but like, could you morph the lightning bolt into the eyeball? Like you would pretty much have that lightning bolt turn into something that looks like a circle and then do a cut. Is that what you'd probably do?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then, you know, also there's the eyeball and then like the pupil, and you'd need to figure out like how do I get the pupil in, or you know, because you're working. I can try to do that.
It's a fun little puzzle.
Yeah.
You know, like how's this gonna go to that, and what parts move? People are asking about Overlord.
Yes, that's what I was going to show you. Hopefully I can fit it in this 30 seconds before the chat and
we do.
pops off. But Overlord is a fantastic third-party plugin that lets you easily take Illustrator files, put them into After Effects as paths, or actually pull paths from After Effects back into Illustrator, which is pretty cool. And so this is it. And if I want to get that lightning bolt in here, I can just open up Illustrator, click the lightning bolt. Overlord is in here too, and hit that.
Boom.
And it's here. I will go over that again after the chat and win.
That'd be fantastic. Look at your timing, impeccable.
Amazing.
Yeah, let's
Didn't
dive
even
into
practice
that
that.
right now. Didn't even practice it, but we have fireworks. So we're gonna dive into chat and win right now. Welcome back, everyone, and it is Chat and Win. So basically, just say something in chat, preferably in English, so we know it's a person at the end of your keyboard, and you will be entered to win a gift that we're going to give you. It's basically a Moo gift card. I think it's $30. $30 Moo gift card to print up whatever you want. You can even print up hall passes.
Sweet.
That's what they were talking about earlier. So, yay, we counts. You can make stickers. Do you use Moo? Have you ever?
I do. All my business cards are Moo.
Yeah.
They got that good paper
They got
and that good printing.
Yeah, exactly. They do. They made printing fun, I'd say.
Yeah.
Can I say that?
I would agree with that.
They really did. They turned into a hub and just made it fun.
And getting your Moo cards is actually very exciting.
Yes. You know who's getting Moo cards if they want? Colin Bowen. Congratulations, Colin. You are the proud winner of a $30 gift card from us to you, just letting you know that we appreciate you, Colin.
You
and
did it.
Everyone in chat.
You all crushed.
You're crushing it now. All right. And again, we just do random giveaways kind of throughout the day. We also have the challenge in case you don't want to have your leave your luck up to chance. I don't know if that makes any sense.
I don't know.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? Like, yeah. So basically, yes, we do have the challenge tab. You can kind of check out the challenge today. By the way, yesterday was creating a ticket. Today, it's all about creating a David Bowie tribute poster. So right in here, download, check out the design brief. These are all those assets, those lightning bolts, all that fun stuff. You're going to create something, upload here, and we'll review those in an hour. Okay. And I wanted to point out when you download those assets, you're going to have them right in here. AYOT. That's what it looks like. I'm following it. This is a brand new feature, by the way. Typically, you can view by type, but you can now make groups. This is brand new.
Oh, that is
view
cool.
by group. In this one, I can't create groups, but if you're in any other one, so I'll just like go to, this library. I can create a specific group, and right in here, and I could say this is going to be the hero images, and then I can drop them in there. So that's kind of how that works. Kind of awfully
Actually did not know about that.
It's like brand new, and that's what this needed. Is it needed organization?
Yeah.
It like literally just had so much junk in here, but now I can actually organize things, so it's kind of nice.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty neat. So get involved, create something just like you're doing, kind of having fun. I like taking simple things and
making them cool.
Are you shooting like lightning out of your fingers? No.
Yes, actually.
Are you Thor?
That would be incredible. That would be super amazing. Unfortunately, I regret that. No, I am just Caitlin.
Well, you are very amazing to us. You are like a superhero in After Effects.
Thank you. This is my goal.
Yeah.
So I want to just go over the Overlord thing again one more time. It's super quick and easy, but just to walk through it once more. And somebody in the chat earlier did point this out. So Overlord will be in Illustrator and After Effects, and you want to make sure that it's visible in both programs when you're doing this. So like I'm in After Effects, you can see Overlord on this panel right over here. It's there. Got all this stuff. And if I go into Illustrator, it's also right here in my like little side panel.
Does this mean you're able to push graphics to and from?
Yes.
Okay.
So instead of like saving this as its own file and then importing it into After Effects and then creating a shape layer based on that, so I can just have this open in Illustrator. I can just click on, my layer, my path, whatever I want, and hit this, which is going to be push to AE. And I just like so, and like boom, it's here. And then for added fun, yes, Paul, you have a question?
Does it appear in your project panel at all?
No, because shape layers don't. Yeah.
Okay.
So it wouldn't be the but then I can delete this Illustrator
I
layer.
love it.
Don't need it.
I love this.
And it just, you don't have to worry about broken links. You have more control over stuff. It's pretty handy. And then, if I'm in here and I just start just fudging around with some of this stuff, and I, for some reason, love this new shape that I've created, but maybe I want to edit it with a little more precision in Illustrator, I can click on this. I very rarely do this, so I hope this works.
Yeah, let's try it.
And do poll selection from AI. Let's see what happened. No, it didn't work.
No, I think it somehow connect. Oh,
Let's
wow.
try this. It's always risky when you
Gosh, I don't know.
Actually, you know what? I think I know what I'm doing, and I'm gonna try this one more time.
And by the way, again, this is just a plugin.
Yeah.
So you were in Illustrator and then you pressed the button.
That was because I don't do that super frequently, but it is an amazing feature if you do need that. If you're gonna pull it into Illustrator from After Effects, you want to be in Illustrator and pull the selection, and then here it is, my weird.
I love it.
No longer.
And now you can use
bolt.
all those tools I honestly, I don't say this very much, but like, I'm like, why isn't this already baked into After Effects?
It's the one thing that it's like a total game changer. It's really amazing.
It removes all the barriers of like,
Yeah.
okay, I got to import, it's here, and I make blah, blah, blah. No. Just boom.
Darren is asking what the difference between Overlord and the libraries is. With the libraries, you can save assets in there, and it's kind of easy as like a reference panel, or to have.
Consider it's more like Overlord's like copy paste.
Yeah,
almost.
Overlord is basically a way to copy and paste between
And
these
it
two
still
different programs.
kind of almost like keeps that. It doesn't really keep the connection, but
Right.
it just does a copy and paste.
Yeah, it's kind of just a transfer tool. Like you can't use Overlord to like have a palette swatch that you have always accessible. So that's one of the big things I use libraries for, is to have all of my swatches for a project, so it's easy for me to just eyedrop in After Effects or Illustrator or whatever. Overlord, doesn't have any of that kind of utility. It's just really helpful for managing your artwork and getting it into After Effects in a way that you can animate it how you want it to work.
And by the way, like libraries, it's gonna be connected back to that graphic. Am I right?
I
Is
think
that
so.
correct?
I don't use libraries for that a lot. I mostly use them for graphics package stuff, which is a totally different After Effects thing, and then palettes.
Yeah, good questions. Thank you so much. I'm loving it. Less than an hour, we'll review the submissions, and thank you so much for joining us.
Cool. I thought I saw. Yeah. Joel was asking to use the new create null from PathScript, and yes, I have done that. I don't have any examples of this in here, but it is a pretty powerful feature.
Yeah, I know. So many thoughts, so many questions.
There's a lot of cool stuff.
Like nulls. You're working with paths. How do you get a shape to follow a path? Things like that. But anyways, I don't want to derail us. This is looking good. I'm still interested in the eye kind of moving in that 3D fashion
well, let's
too.
jump into that.
And open to more questions, by the way. Darren's asking about tablets. We're not really using tablets here. Otherwise, I'd dive into that.
Yeah.
Kind of try to stay on the After Effects train, if you will.
I do have an Intuos, though, that I like quite a bit.
Oh, you do?
It is,
nice.
I think, more than $100. So, yeah, let's jump into this eye thing, which is not in its own pre-comp, but it is controlled by this.
Oh, that's a null, right? Or no?
This is all set up using yet another third-party plugin. But this one is also great for doing some kind of simple rigging stuff, which can get really fun to play around with in After Effects, but is a little intimidating when you're first starting out, for sure.
Could you maybe, I don't know, can you start with a new comp?
Yeah, I'm going to do all of this from scratch, cool. Just to, because it's a little messy in the end product. But let's just like make a new folder, and we'll do eye, and then I'll make a new comp. Eye. Cool. So that was made with some more artwork from here. I think it was one of these. Let me take a look at that again.
Thanks for helping out, Darren. Voodoo Val, by the way, just kind of answering questions about tablets. Voodoo Val is not only the hall monitor, but also is an amazing illustrator as well.
Yeah, I was looking at some of her work yesterday, actually.
She's the right person to ask when it comes to like tablets and stuff, I feel.
Yeah, this is joysticks and sliders for people that are in the know about some of these scripts. It's really very cool and pretty easy to set up. So I'm gonna take this eye. I'm gonna get rid of this.
Sam Kim knows what's up. Look at Joel as well, because they're mentioning these things. I'm like, I have no idea.
Yeah, you'll see it a lot around. I guess, heck, let's just make a big one. And I need to adjust some of this artwork so I can get the result that I want, because the pupil is its own layer. This iris is like a stroke on a circle. And if you look at the Illustrator artwork, this is empty space, like just the black sections are, shape layers. So I want these white elements too. So I'm gonna do a couple things.
You kind of gotta set it up.
Yep. One thing is I'm going to click on this shape, and I'm gonna use. I don't remember the name of this tool, but I think it might be Shape Builder.
Shape Builder. Yep.
Okay. So. And I'm
just use a shortcut for it?
Yes.
Too?
I don't even know the
Fancy.
shortcut for that. Let's see if we can.
It's off to the side. You can see it. Boop.
Oh, is that it?
You can zoom in on that puppy. Yep.
Of course, I just immediately.
Welcome, Jasmine. Good to have you here. First time in a long time.
Cool. Okay. Yeah, it's right here.
Welcome.
Shape Builder tool.
Yep.
Very neat. Yeah, it's funny how much you don't need to know to still use things in Illustrator and After Effects. But the keyboard shortcut is like Shift M, and so you can see now like this is being highlighted, this white space, and if I just click, it'll fill that in, and now like.
And what you could do is do a click and drag from one to the next. You want to connect those two, or no?
Yeah, I might. Well.
I don't know. You don't. I don't know. I don't know what you're doing.
I'm like, what do I want? I think I'm gonna leave it. But that is a good point. I'll show you that. Like, if I just want, I don't want this hole in the middle anymore. I want just this to be a one solid piece. So I'll hit Shift M, and if I drag through this,
it'll connect them.
It connects, and now it's just one big circle.
Yeah. Hopefully that makes sense, JC.
Yeah, JC Shape Builder, it basically lets you can clip off pieces of shapes, or you can, cut holes into stuff.
And it's really good if you're creating something that's like a little more complex, because we know there's Pathfinder, which is just like, we're gonna make everything solid, or we're gonna like subtract.
It just gives you like a little more refined control. But if I wanted to like cut out, these are just two squares that are on top of each other. And if I just highlight both of them and do Shift M and click this middle piece, it just pops that out.
That is amazing. That's like a pro tip.
That one is cool, and yet you can do a lot of cool stuff with it.
I consider myself an Illustrator master, and I've never used it that way.
How many times can I do this?
I love this move. I love that.
It's just super handy for, again, editing artwork, because then sometimes you need to really tweak stuff so you can get what you need in After Effects.
Artem, great questions creating a poster. You don't have to use all the stuff from the assets to create the poster. What I would actually encourage everybody to do, not to get off the subject.
No, good.
But just to kind of show you, you can dive into the WooBox link right here. You click on that, and you can see what other people have submitted. So click View Gallery, and you can just kind of see how some people kind of did their own thing. The key thing is just to make a Bowie poster, and we're just giving you assets to help. That's all. Make it fun.
Have a good time.
Yeah, that's all we're doing.
So I'm going to go ahead and have this highlighted, Shift M, and get this little pupil. This is all grouped together, so if I like have everything highlighted and do Command Shift G, I believe it should ungroup it. And for those who have not done this, like these are all separate elements. Now I can click and drag, but if you want to just have them all kind of stick together, you just like highlight everything and hit Command G, and like that's grouping it. So now it's one unit. And then again, if I Command Shift G, now it's all separate. And that just gives you control over it.
Yeah.
And then I want this white circle to be like an actual physical thing I can touch. Right now it's just a cutout empty space. So what I'm gonna do first is I'm gonna make this eye like an enclosed eyeball.
Yeah.
So I'm going to delete some of these points. I guess it's
you do your thing.
It's cool if I talk about Illustrator stuff, right? This is
totally
this
cool.
is relevant.
Well, yeah.
Because I spent a lot of time in Illustrator too.
You're right online with him, because he's like, I need a big update on Illustrator.
Yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. I have
a couple different ways you can do this, by the way. You know how I do it?
I don't. I don't know.
I would duplicate the shape on top and then flip it.
Yeah, that's essentially what I do. So yeah, actually, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to have my little eyeball shape selected, And I'm gonna hit A on the keyboard as my like individual selection. I don't remember what it's called. Direct selection tool, which is also right here in the top left. It's this cursor, and that lets me just select individual points. So I'm going to just grab only this one on the bottom.
Okay.
And I'm going to Command X. Now this looks weird, but we can just delete that. We don't need that. And then I'm going to Command F to paste it. So what that did was just grabs this one point, but it also grabs each point next to it.
Oh, you just copied a point and pasted a point.
Yeah.
Using direct selection.
So I'm gonna just do it again really quickly. Like this is, starting originally. I'll grab only this one bottom point because I want this arc at the bottom. I want this whole piece. This is all I need. So I have this one point selected. Command X, get rid of that. And Command F, paste it in place. And then I'm gonna flip this and stick them both together. Thanks, Paul. Dressing with Dressage. I like that a lot.
Yeah, we heard that joke earlier, Paul.
It's a solid one.
It's solid. You're about 40 minutes late on it, but
great minds.
You're.
So what I'm gonna do is hit O, I believe, is the mirror tool, which is also, it's reflect. It's also up here. O is the keyboard shortcut for that. I have this selected, not with direct selection, with just the regular selection tool. So I'll hit O, and then I want to flip this exactly on this line. So I'll just like go over to one of these points, and I'm gonna hold down Option. I always have to check first to see what it is.
I love it.
So holding down Option on this point means it's gonna flip around this anchor point, and that's how I'll know that it's like basically exact. No, Paul, it was good. I appreciated it.
Paul, you're the man, buddy.
Keep them coming.
We're not good. We don't mean to give you a hard time. You're funny.
Now that I have this window open, that was what hitting Option and clicking right here. It pops up this reflect tool window. I'm gonna hit preview. So right now, this is obviously not what we want. I want it to flip horizontally. Ooh. And I'm not gonna click OK, I'm gonna click copy, because that way it keeps the original.
Oh.
Boom.
Very cool.
So now I can highlight both of these because these are separate. And if I just hit Command J, it should stick them together. Yeah, so now this is one.
You're good. How long have you known Illustrator?
Too long. I don't know.
Because I feel like some of these are very like, it's a good mix of old and new. It's like old school. Like, yeah, this is awesome.
Sweet, I love it. This is my graphic design training, I guess. Like kicking in is this. And actually, I want that the original eye shape we had in here again. I want that back because I need it as to show the area that I need to cut out for that circle. So what I'm gonna do is like cut this. I'm just gonna like undo everything I did, and then I'm gonna paste it. So I have that, and I also have this. I need this area. So I'm gonna just make it this color so I can see what I'm doing. I want this. I want this to be a stroke. So what is a good way to do this? I'll copy this circle, because I just need a circle, so it can be any size right now, and this is centered where I want it to be. So I'll copy this and paste that, and I'll scale it up, and I'm kind of eyeballing it. No pun intended. And then I will make this a stroke, and I want to change the color so I can just see what I'm doing, and I can just crank this up to like, I don't know. We're just gonna dial it in.
What was the first version of Illustrator you used?
Oh my God, that's a great question. It was like a couple versions before Creative Cloud, I think, is when I started.
CS6, CS5, something like that, probably.
I want to say it was CS5, but I'm not 100% sure. It could have been CS4. I started graphic design school, I guess, I went to like college was 2009. So whatever that was, something.
So Brendan,
yeah, I'm just gonna dial this in. Cool. And so it's not exact, and I noticed this earlier, but for our intents and purposes, it doesn't have to be like pixel perfect to get this to work. So I want this to be white. I want this to be white. Don't need this anymore, so I can delete it.
Yeah. Mike, I like where your head's at. You could stroke a circle and then have that stroke be on the outside. Is another way to
The
approach
thing is,
it.
once you put that into After Effects, it doesn't really work
Oh,
how I want it.
stroke.
I don't believe that it does work the same way.
I don't know.
I'm not 100% sure. But I
So
don't
Paul,
think...
that's what Paul's saying. He's like,
Yeah.
he agrees with you. Like, would it be the same in After Effects?
Let's try it.
Like, you trust filled shapes for sure.
Yeah.
Is that the
Or like the stroke on the middle.
this-
But let's just see if we do this and if I pop
let's
this
try it.
into...
Because again, it's not an option in.
I'm not 100% positive. I've never just have it. Yeah, see, like it defaults to that, and
Okay.
I don't know if there's a way to do that or not. I mean, if somebody knows, correct me if I'm wrong. But that was something that I think some of it just does not translate how you would think.
Which is good. Which is why I'm glad we're learning After Effects, because you know what it can do. You're not really gonna do anything beyond that in Illustrator.
Right.
Good call.
That's why, yeah, prepping files and stuff like that. It's always good for, if you're illustrating for motion, if you just kind of have a basic idea of the process, because there's definitely times where I'll get Illustrator files or something, and the illustration is great, but it's not built for animation, and things can get a little
messy.
The motion designer might have to spend a few hours just tweaking all of the artwork to get it into the right steez, the right zone. So delete that.
Everybody's talking about how the versions of Illustrator that they've used.
It's been
The
around
one
for
that
quite
they've
a
learned
while.
on. Yeah, it has been. I'll give you.
Brandon, it's Overlord. That is how I just imported that into AE. I showed it a little bit earlier. It's a third-party plugin, and it's awesome, and it makes Overlord super good. I do use Explode Shape Layers a lot too still. Thank you so much, Michael, for checking this out. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's just a lot of little tools that can make stuff like that easier and faster. Save time. So now I have this piece of the eye, which is great. I have the pupil, which is great, and then I have this little iris. And that's it. So I have 3 shapes, and I'll just highlight all of these, and using Overlord again, pop it into After Effects. And then I think I had this be this dark blue, so I'll switch up some of the colors. Very cool. And then obviously I will label these for clarity. The pupil, put that on top. Have this be the iris. So the eyeball is good. What we want to do is animate the iris and the pupil in a way where we can get that rotation and how looking around, all of that stuff. So what I'm first gonna do is center these, because we don't need it to be looking up. We want to start at a neutral position. So I'm just gonna align it to the center of the composition. Everything's all even. Very cool. So how I ended up doing this.
This gives you the most flexibility, I feel, when you're using paths, shapes. This is really
This opens up a lot more possibilities. I use a lot of shape layers. Okay, it gives you more options, more control.
This is it's so fun for me, by the way, just watching. This is awesome.
I like doing this. If you're familiar with my work at all, I do eyeball stuff a lot. I don't know why. It's just very enjoyable to animate. And I use this trick a lot. I've been using it for quite some time. So,
I love what you're doing, basically, because you could literally, people here, you could follow along and kind of work on this animation, starting with the eyeball and some of these graphics. So.
And if you do, let us know.
Let us know.
Because that would be very cool. We are going to get into 3D layers for the first time.
3D.
We'll see if
what
we
do
can
we
handle
do?
it.
Where do I need?
It
I'm
could
ready.
get rough.
Okay.
No,
hold
it's
on,
super.
I need coffee.
It is super chill. So the iris and the pupil, I'm gonna make them 3D layers, and I guess the easiest way is to just dive into it, but it's not gonna get super complex.
Feel free to ask questions.
Yes, if you have any questions, let us know. So I've got the pupil and the iris highlighted, and to make them 3D layers, there's a little box here.
Yeah, zoom in on that bad boy. Oh yeah.
3D layer. And so if you go down and click here,
boop,
they are 3D now.
The iris and the pupil.
So they don't really look any different. You know, if I Command Z, nothing really appears to change except for now the axis has 3 dimensions.
Mm-hmm. Got some little arrows in there.
So if I go into 2 views, these are, you know, flat in this top view. But what I want to do is take the pupil and the iris. I want the axis points of those to be a little bit back in space because that makes it, you know, when I animate the rotation, then it looks more 3D.
How did you, wait, sorry, you opened up this window. How'd you get to that again? I'm sorry.
So it starts out, this is like the default view.
Oh, one view down
Yeah,
there.
and so
Okay.
when you have 3D layers, you can add some, could just help you kind of get your bearings. And so I want to move these axis points back in Z space. And that's pretty easy to do. So with the pupil and the iris selected, if I go to this tool,
Zoom in on that bad boy. What is that?
this is the pan behind tool, and you use it to adjust anchor points. So I can show you that on a 2D layer first. Let's do it on this. We'll go back to one view. So, you know, this is your anchor point, and it's in the center. So if you rotate, it rotates around the anchor point. But if I want it to be somewhere else, I will go to the pan behind tool, or I'll hit Y on the keyboard. That's the keyboard shortcut for that. And then you can drag the anchor point around. If you hold
Hand
Command,
behind changes the anchor point?
yeah.
Huh.
I don't actually know why it's called that.
Yeah.
So hit
I'll
me
just
up
be
if
like,
you guys know.
the anchor point tool.
Yeah. So, you know, then I put it here, and now if I rotate it, it's going to rotate around the new anchor point. So that's just it as a 2D element. And so obviously in 3D, the axis, the anchor point is 3D. You get
Okay, it is
yeah,
3D. Okay.
still centered.
Oh, I see what you're doing now. Okay.
So yeah, I'm gonna go into the pan behind tool again. I've got the pupil and iris, and I'm gonna take this and just move it back.
That's right, Paul. Good call. It's like rotating. So it's you want to rotate around that point in 3D space,
Yeah.
the center of that sphere. That's what you're doing.
Yes. So now if I rotate it, it's rotating a little bit. It's not just flatly rotating on itself. You can see.
It's like more realistic.
And I kind of want to push it further back. And again, I'm just eyeballing it. And it doesn't, you know, it doesn't need to be like super duper perfect or anything in particular. But now we get kind of more of a 3D vibe when it's going. And something else that I kind of like to do, I can't remember which one I did this on. No, I want it to be the other way. I want the pupil to be like a little bit even deeper in to add even more to that 3D.
Yeah, agreed. It technically would be.
Yeah, it's like a little bit behind. It just makes it look a little bit more interesting. So I move the iris axis a little bit further back. So when you rotate it, see how like now the pupil, it's not perfectly centered in there anymore. It's like a little bit set back. So if I undo what I just did and I rotate it, you know, it's got this kind of, it's still like perfectly
flat,
circular here.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that what we're, right?
Yeah. So then I just pop this back a little bit, and it just adds a little bit more like parallax, I guess, to it.
Yeah.
Just a little fun element.
Oh, I'm into it.
That is the eyeball. So now we just need to set up the controller that using joysticks and sliders makes it just super easy to actually animate this in a smooth way.
You already blew Paul's mind, by the way. So mind already blown. And now we're going to use joysticks and sliders, which sounds like a lot of fun. Oh, joysticks and sliders.
Yeah. I love joysticks.
I hope it's
pretty chill.
Easy.
It is. It's another one of those plugins that looks kind of complicated, but it's really not when you boil it. It's super easy to use when you boil it down. And so what joysticks and sliders does, it's right here. Whoop. Let's just zoom into this. Get a look at it. There's, you know, a lot of different utility for this, but we're just going to worry about only the joysticks. And what it does is give you this square control. With the magic of expressions, lets you very easily animate just one element and get a bunch of cool stuff from that. So if you look back into the original comp, this is the joystick. I don't want that. I want the control. And so you animate the position on this little guy. And of course, I keep grabbing the spline or the path, but so you can see that it's the eye is following this. And so all I have to do is animate that, and you can get
How
some...
did you attach that again? You had that layer selected?
It's not, I haven't shown any of that yet.
Oh, I see, sorry. I was reading chat, and then I looked over, and it was already done.
Yeah,
Sorry.
this is the end result.
But this is good. This allows you to visually control that motion, because otherwise you'd be, I don't know what you'd be doing.
You'd be like fudging with the keyframes, and you know, it'll look a little stilted, because if you're animating both the rotations, it's just kind of gonna go linear. And this way, you know, I can curve this motion path and get like a nice like, whoa, like rolling my eyes. And it's like a nice smooth circular motion. So that's kind of fun.
Ryan Smith likes it. I agree, I like it too, the
Sick,
joystick.
thank you. Paul, I do not think Adobe has a physical joystick. I do not think that is.
A physical joystick,
I'm
no.
not 100% sure.
But I'll give you, here's some old After Effects history. Back in the day, After Effects did have hardware. What was that piece of hardware? Just answer in chat. Back in the day, this is After Effects. Question number, then I have another follow-up question after that.
I have a question about, could I have some water? Does anyone?
Yes.
How do I? Can someone in the chat just can you just
give me some
beam
water?
me some water?
You are so sweet.
You're awesome. Thank you.
So yeah, what was the hardware that came with After Effects? And also, what was After Effects called before it was Adobe After Effects?
I don't know the answer to any of these questions.
2 questions.
So joysticks and it was Power Glove.
No, it wasn't.
It wasn't Power Glove.
No.
So how joysticks and sliders works is if you open this little tab. Okay, this is a lot.
And then make sure you read all that. So
yeah,
that's
read
what we'll
all
spend
of this.
the next 45 minutes doing.
No, but this does have a little bit. The important information is right here, and I'll just read it. You will set an origin, which is like, this is why we have the iris and the pupil centered. That's like the zeroed out origin. This is just where, you know, we want the default animation to be. And then you will set a right point, a left point, a top point, and a bottom point. And with the power of this plugin, it will tie all of these to the joystick, so then you don't have to worry about it anymore. So then I'm gonna actually walk you through how to do that. And so we don't wanna rotate the Z, like we don't need that. So we just put a keyframe on X and Y at the very beginning of the comp at 0 seconds. So 4 keyframes of X, Y on both of them. And then I'll go 1 frame over, Command right arrow key. And so now we're setting, like, if we pan to the right, if we joystick to the right, we want these to both go to the right. And let's say like 55, like minus 55, or no.
It was called COSA, Company of Science and Art. I know
Wow.
it's Science and
Thank you.
Art. I think it's Company of Science and Art. I feel like that's wrong, but yes, it's COSA. COSA After Effects. The other question, what was the hardware that came with After Effects? What was that hardware? And then you can continue.
Cool. Okay, so keyframe. And what you're gonna wanna do too is have a keyframe for every animated property on each of these sections. So if you can see now, if I have it to the right, I want it to only be rotating in the Y axis, but I am gonna put a keyframe on X as 0 anyway. So it just like it has that information. And I'll go to the next one. And so now I'm doing the left, and I'll just type in for Y 55. So now, you know, it's 55 if I go to the right. If I go to the left, it's, you know, it's plus 55 in this direction. Put another keyframe here. And now we're gonna do up and down, so I want it to be zeroed out here because I don't want it to be over here, you know, if we're looking up. And you can actually go in the joysticks and sliders panel, you can go to origin and click that, and it'll copy paste these first keyframes here.
Love it.
So it's a little bit taking care of some of the hard work for you. And then I think it's up and down, but let me check. Top and bottom, yeah. Okay, so now we're gonna do up. Let's just do 55 all the way around. So this will be minus 55, and then the next one is plus 55. Okay. So you know, if you play it now, this looks not right. But what you'll do is just highlight both of these and go to this little joystick. This is create new joystick button. And we'll call it like eye control.
Nope, not red code, not stem. So this is defined the box?
Yes, so now we have the controller. And what's cool about this too is that, like, you know, this is kind of confusing to animate. I can move this out of the way by just grabbing the blue border, and I can just drag, I can scale it if I want to. But now I just have this controller, and I can just, I have the power now.
So you just basically defined the box, and now you have the freedom to keyframe anywhere within that
Right.
box.
So now I don't have to touch any of these eyeball layers again, the pupil or the iris. I just need to worry about this red layer, this box here. And now I can just animate this. Put him over here, here. And then maybe back to where we started. So we'll do that. And then obviously this is a little stilted looking, so we can highlight all the keyframes on this motion path. And I'm just gonna add some curves. So what I did, I have the motion path point selected with my pen tool. You hold down Option and click, and it'll give you these like little Bezier handles. You can smooth these out. Maybe, oh no. Need to add one here. And there. So now it's a little more, still not like a super refined animation, but it's getting the job done. So he's totally over it. This eyeball. It's like, ugh.
Who's that? Me?
No, whoever this guy is.
This guy is.
Bowie.
That's what they were asking if it eyeball ties. This makes it fun. I think since you pulled up this path, not right now, but I think people would be interested in the fact that you drew that path and that's the motion for an object.
Oh yeah, I can definitely show some of that too. But the one last thing I want to do with this is I want to, right now the iris is like sticking out of the eyeball. So, you know, if he's like, this is happening, that doesn't normally happen, at least with my eyes. Typically they stay in there. So we want to kind of simulate that, and we have this eyeball layer. So I'm gonna trot out set matte again, which I showed yesterday, and it's just a quick way to mask out layers using other layers. It's an effect in the effects and presets panel. So I go over here, set matte on the pupil first, and then I will go to eyeball. The pupil is not as important because it's very unlikely to be popping out of the edge, but you never know. And then I'm gonna copy the set matte from that layer and put it on the iris too. And so you can see now it's clipping that out. And then the extra fun thing is that if you want it to blink, you can do that by animating the eyeball paths, like I showed earlier. Because it's masking this out. So if I put a keyframe on the eyeball path and then I come down here and maybe I bring this down.
Love it.
Bring this up. And then go a few more.
Copy the,
And this is like a super slow animation, and so if we want to maybe.
Cool.
And that's cool. You can get pretty funky with stuff like this. And
Yeah.
I really like to do a lot of eyeball stuff like this, so it's just something fun to play around with. Joysticks and sliders makes it super easy. I don't know, like it doesn't take too long to really hit the ground running with that. And then here it is again. In here, there's a little bit of more added animation here because when it turns into the O, it scales up. You'll see the O kind of expand a little bit and the pupil goes away, and that's just to make a clean transition to the O. I think that T is all different now because
blowing minds. Oh, it's getting dangerous in chat. All these minds are exploding. I'm gonna answer that question. I'll just switch over to my screen real fast. But this is the hardware that you used to have that came with After Effects. It was a dongle. Look, Adobe After Effects.
Oh my God.
You'd have to connect this. It connected your keyboard. It connected to your keyboard. You had to have this key, if you will, in order for After Effects to work. Back in the day, it even says right here. Now it's a collector's item.
No kidding.
So
That's
anyways,
amazing.
random quiz.
Paul is asking if you don't have joysticks and sliders, would you create a path or manually enter keyframes? Yeah, you can manually enter keyframes. There are also expressions you can look up you can kind of rig up your own little joystick. I've never actually done that, but joysticks and sliders are just so easy to use. But there are ways around it, and if you keyframe it without using joysticks and sliders, it's hard to not have it look very linear. It's really hard to get that like round animation. So that's just like another reason why using joysticks and sliders makes it so much more accessible. What do we got time for?
We do have less than 20 minutes. I see people have been getting their posters in.
Well, I'd love to crack open the particular stuff, but if there is any questions that people have about anything up until now, like now is probably a good time just because we're.
I love what you're doing here. I love the pop of color that's happening in the background.
Yeah, that was fun, and that's pretty easy to set up. I can go over that too really quickly.
But yeah, by all means, like if anybody has questions,
jump up in there.
I think this is perfect. Like this is your chance. Like Caitlin is your mentor now, and for the next
20 more minutes.
Yeah, but don't worry, she'll be back tomorrow.
Yep.
So from 1 to 3 p.m.
Does anyone have any particular questions?
Yeah, that's funny.
So if we don't get that today, I can.
Evan's got jokes.
Yeah, we can definitely. Evan's always been good at that. Paul just said, I want to learn the right way to do things before getting into the scripts and plugins. That's a good point, but I actually think, and there are two schools of thought to this, but some people avoid it because they feel like it's cheating, and it's third-party plugins, a lot of them really exist to just make things easier or make things faster, and it's not cheating, I think. Like, I rely on a lot of them pretty heavily, and you don't want to use it as a crutch, but if there are things in it that are just like, this is a fast way to get up and running and doing this, yeah. And JC just said, technically it's not anything you can't do in regular AE. Like, that is accurate. It's basically a tool to help you work faster and smarter in a lot of cases. So I just wouldn't shy away from using them. If nothing else, it might be beneficial to try and like reverse engineer it or figure out how they, make it work, like dive into the expressions, and you can actually learn a lot that way.
And I sometimes think like plugins are like the next level of something because it's something that you find yourself doing over and over again, and you think there might be an easier way, hence a plugin. That's kind of what they do. Yeah. I think Overlord, out of all the ones that I've seen, is awesome because it's just an easy way to go from Illustrator right in After Effects, and then you're animating.
Like, I can't even imagine not having it. And yeah, I honestly think, using it and just like taking a look at, what expressions might be used to do it, like that's probably more beneficial in the long run.
Yeah, I saw Ann Bracker. I saw your name scroll by. I just want to shout out to you. She's a graphic designer. I think she could benefit from something like Overlord. She does graphic design. You could see all of her logo work and everything is really cool.
Oh, yeah.
But, and sometimes you do. You literally like have a logo and it's begging to be animated. Right. Don't you think?
Yeah. I think it adds it's fun to do, and it adds a lot of value, I think, to be able to do that. You can really...
And it's something needed now more than ever, especially which is funny. Animated GIFs or just anything with video. We know video captivates more than so many other things, even on like whatever platform you're on. Like it's even Instagram, And you can paste in a static logo or you can bring it to life with After Effects.
And Kevin's asking how to get ideas for a logo animation and how to think in motion. I mean, it's a big question. This is there's always a balance in, I will find myself, looking at a logo and it's hard when you're just starting out, when maybe you don't like know every little thing.
Here's my logo. This is not mine. This is Ann Bracker's. We can probably switch off. I don't know if I did that. Sorry, Paco. I might have changed the screen. I don't know if that was you or me. But
when it comes to thinking in motion, designing, and animation, I was trying to say when you're first starting out, it's hard not to get in the habit of just animating it in the ways you know how to do it. You don't want to restrict yourself just because maybe you don't know how to animate something the way you're imagining it. I definitely did that for like quite a while when I was first starting out because I was like, this is too ambitious. I have no idea how to even do that. So I'll just do the things that I know. But you know, you have to take every logo on a case by case basis, and you try to use you try to lean into the elements. You know, if something is really clean and vector and graphical, you might want to do things in a less 3D way. Like you don't want to get into this like photoreal style of stuff, and it's a tough question to answer because you know things are so different. But actually, could you put up Ann Bracker's logo again really quickly? Yeah. Because if I was going to animate this, you know, it's kind of got that like hand-drawn type feel. Like I would probably like my go-to instinct would be to animate on the letters like as if they're being drawn on.
Exactly.
And maybe you could add some like little, like maybe it's bouncing in or something, or there's like some little splashes. But yeah, it kind of just takes practice, and you know, use the elements that are there and try to use those as inspiration.
Again, yeah, it's kind of parts of this is just begging to be animated because it's fun and playful, and you could do a number of things with it. But I think that's that's something that you've already shown us kind of how to do. Like we know how to take this logo and we know how to bend vectors and animate them over time.
Right.
Which is awesome. Not that I know how to do it. I'm like, I can do your job.
You can do it.
No. So yeah, we have about 12 minutes. Everything's looking good.
I guess, yeah, I can go over the color stuff really quickly.
I think the color stuff's interesting. I think Hersto asks which are the most commonly requested motion graphics by clients. That's kind of a tough question, but what do you find yourself animating a lot of?
For me,
maybe it is cycling through colors or following a path or who knows what.
Yeah.
It's probably across. I don't know if there is anything.
Well, I will say, and I don't know exactly if this is what you're asking, but like a lot of my freelance stuff I've done for graphic design studios is like animating logos, and a lot of that is, you know, they're doing design for a client that's like, oh, you know, I need branding for this, and they want the logo to animate, just to kind of, you know, it's the same thing as like photoshopping it onto like a t-shirt and like a, you know, like into the real space. It's like to give the client a better idea of like, what is this really going to look like? And like, is this what I want? You know, does this feel like, so if you show a client, you know, and this is what your logo would look like if you had a TV spot and you like had your logo animate on at the end, or if you posted this on social media, and it can just kind of can really help sell your design. Which is why I think graphic designers should learn After Effects, you know, if they can, because I really do think it adds a lot to your work and what you're able to present and like bring to the table.
I have a question for you, because I feel like these letters are awesome coming in. Like, what would you do with, and this is obviously like a logo, what would you do with that Thunderbolt banner underneath?
It's a great question.
Like, what are some ideas?
I kind of want, part of me wants to break up this into like 3 different elements and kind of have like this would be its own thing and this would be its own thing, and you know, then the final banner, and maybe they kind of like strike in, and maybe we'd stagger it so, you know, the big music festival banner like comes in and then these like fly in after. I don't know if I'd be able to like whip this together now.
Not right now, but I like the idea.
Yeah.
I like the idea of a reveal of those letters. So like in a mask sort of way. But it starts with a bar and then it's like a lightning bolt.
Well, and it's like, since it's a lightning bolt, like it's a little easy to just be like, well, I'll make it do like a lightning thing. Yeah. But it's what I was thinking too when I did the animation for the T, and the bolt kind of like pops in. You know, it's not really like a super realistic like lightning bolt animation. But you know, I just thought that's fun. Like let's play around with the element as it is and see what we can do with it.
Yeah, I like it. No, I think it looks good. And you could do, don't underestimate a simple like cut too, or a flash.
Right.
Because since this is a Thunderbolt, could you take the whole screen or the whole comp and invert the color, invert it and then invert it back?
Yeah.
Like the whole thing.
I wonder if I could, I don't know what I would do. So like it would be probably at this point.
Thank you so much, everybody, for getting your submissions in. We'll be reviewing those in less than 9 minutes.
Well, now I'm just playing here because I'm not even sure.
How do you make the logo disappear? You just turn off your laptop. Just joking. Bad.
How would I make the
But
logo
I think that's a
good question.
Actually, you know the shortcut keys are huge for ending a timeline for a layer.
Yes, that is true.
I forget what it is. Is it shift closing bracket?
Yeah, it's option closing bracket.
Option closing
So
bracket.
now it's everything is gone.
Yeah, see that? Selected, just chops them all off. So that's how you make it disappear.
Although I think, you know, if you're asking like how would I animate this away so that like it animates on and then it like fades off or something.
Oh, yeah.
That's a good question. And probably in this case, I maybe would just do a simple fade off. Maybe not all simultaneously, but maybe, you know, just the A and the Y and the O and the T like fade out over time. Because there's already so much going on that you don't want to overwhelm people either. Oh, I mean, sometimes you do, depending on what the brief is, but there's already a lot to take in here, so like you don't necessarily need to animate it off in a flashy way too. Like that
and
contrast is actually kind of nice.
JC nails it.
Yeah, and that is true.
So good.
JC said, ironically, often the transition that motion designers neglect is a simple cut, and that is true. Obviously, there's like really beautiful motion graphics work out there where things are like, you know, transitioning in these like really slick, beautiful ways. But it's not always necessary, and sometimes it's it doesn't necessarily serve the content the best way. And honestly, like in my own work at The Atlantic, especially because we have pretty fast turnaround times and they're kind of these longer things, like sometimes it's really easy for, you know, I'm like, just cut it. Like I don't need to worry about like, take this element, bring it out here and it flies over here and it like blossoms into this and then, you know, you bring it up. It's like sometimes you don't need to do that and sometimes you're actually just like dragging it out.
Making more work for yourself.
Yeah. Which like, and that can also be fine and sometimes that is appropriate or the right thing to do. But hard cuts sometimes are exactly what you need. And what's great about them is that it requires no additional work, really.
I have a question, like, what do you think is the most, are there some telltale signs that you see, like, beginners doing? Like, you see an animation and you're like, okay, you're obviously kind of just starting out in After Effects.
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, easing is the biggest one. I know we talked about that yesterday. But one of the biggest signs is like either not having easing at all or only doing just the basic easy ease and not drilling into the graph editor and really like tweaking it. And things that are slow. I think you talked about this yesterday, like making things really slow.
That would always, every time I would animate, by the way, when I used to do this, it was always so slow. And that was okay because I kind of was like, kind of just building it out. And then I would eventually scrunch it up, and it got better and better the shorter it got, you know?
And it's like learning timing. It's hard. Like, I won't even say, like, I'm always learning more about how to do this better. And I definitely did that the first few years when I was starting out. It's like leaving so much space between keyframes and things just kind of like going.
Like, if I was an amateur doing this, like, or just starting out, I would have just animated on the A and then animated on the Y, and yours are all clearly overlapping.
Right.
But your eye still flows from left to right.
Yeah, and it is. You play around. Like I nudged things around a lot until I kind of, and I don't know, you know, if I was still continuing to refine this, maybe the timing would continue to change. Like things would maybe still be developing.
So what can you show in 5 minutes? Either the background's changing or like, do you want to like tease particles? Because maybe we'll get into that tomorrow.
Yeah.
Not to.
I think particular, that's going to be like a big thing to bite off. So I might just show the color changing because it's super simple.
I'm totally interested in the colors. And I love all these colors down here. That's a plugin.
Delightful. It's not.
Oh, it's not? What
no, baby. So let's just look at the background. This is just a solid, and how you make a solid there in the layer panel. If you go to layer, new, solid, it'll just make you a comp-sized, like flat color background. And you know, I usually use this for backgrounds, not much else. But I just put a fill effect on it, and that's something you can also find in the effects and presets panel, and it just gives you a quick way to keyframe the color change. And I think I dragged these keyframes, so they're not exactly evenly spaced in terms of like 10, it's probably like 15 or something keyframes apart. But these are hold keyframes, so there's no transitions.
Can you show how to make a hold keyframe, just so?
Yeah, actually, and let me show you what it would look like if these weren't hold keyframes. It would be kind of muddy. because it's like it's smoothly transitioning, and that actually means that we're getting a lot of colors in here that are not actually like from our palette. And sometimes it can look good, and then sometimes it can look not good. There we go. So what I want is for it to be just like a hard change, like it stays orange, and then it turns to blue, and then it turns to, you know, etc. So we'll have all the keyframes selected, and how we got those
I
even.
used to, back in the day, would just take 2 keyframes and put them right next to each other. And that was
I had done that too.
That was my cut,
yeah.
or my hold, you know.
And hold keyframes just make it, because you can do that and it counts, you know. And so if I go down here and I like would add the next keyframe, and that's, you can keyframe stuff by just, like if I delete that, and I'll open up my palette again, just grab this and, you know, put blue. So it'll just add the keyframe there. I'm gonna change that back to this. And so to make them hold keyframes, you know, if you click color here, did I? Oh, there we go. It'll highlight all the keyframes for you, and you can just right click on those. And
can you zoom into that real fast, since that might be kind of small for people, and since the visual of a typical keyframe is a diamond.
So I have all them highlighted. You just like right click here on this bad boy, toggle hold keyframe, and then they'll become kind of these square.
And that's when it makes that. Well, anyways.
Yeah, and so if you're looking at the color bar,
yeah,
you can see how it doesn't have that smooth transition anymore.
Thank you so much joining us,
McNeil.
McNeil has to roll out.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to Farubek from Uzbekistan, which is awesome.
Awesome
to have you here, especially since it's probably like really late at night there.
And Chuck, to answer your question, like Overlord is the main one. There's a lot more, but Overlord is the main plugin that I can't live without.
Feel free.
It's a game changer.
Scrub back 45 minutes. You'll probably see it in action.
Joel, yes, the color changes have a loop expression. Loop out is like if you type in the loop out expression and you don't put cycle in the parentheses, it will default to cycle. This is all gibberish probably to people that aren't. Loop out is a really easy expression.
I'm interested in that for like tomorrow.
Yeah, I'll dive into that more tomorrow.
I want to look at 2 things: particles and expressions.
Yeah.
And even you mentioned, well, I don't know if you did, but we talked about wiggle as well.
Yeah, that's another one I use a lot.
That'd be really fun.
Didn't actually use it a lot in this one, but I think at least one place I had it, and it's a simple expression that will loop your keyframes, so you don't have to copy paste keyframes to get the same motion over and over again.
Which is something I used to always do too. Another telltale sign of a newbie.
It is, yeah.
I used to always copy and paste further down the timeline. This is like 20 years ago, by the way. Seriously.
I had the same experience, though.
1995.
This happened to me too, and the guy I was interning for was just like, you don't need to do that.
I know.
Here's the loop expression, and it like really changed my outlook.
Yeah. It's okay. It's a good thing. You learn the hard way, and then you're like, there has to be an easier way.
Yeah.
You discover expressions and fun particles. And this is looking, I just really like these, like, particles.
I like the particles a lot. That was fun, and yeah, that'll be a fun thing to dive into tomorrow.
Yeah, I'm really into it. So think about that. I think it's a good idea, because what does everybody do? They take their own. Anytime you're making something new, you're doing it for your own branding. So you make a website, it's always your website that you just piddle around on.
Yep.
Start with your own logo. Maybe your name is your logo or something.
Yeah.
And then just build something, post it to Instagram. I would love to see that sort of thing. Just have some fun.
One thing that I did with my logo, and it's like so simple, but could be fun, is if you look at this guy, he blinks.
I love him.
And he looked. And that it's just like an animated GIF that just like loops. So I guess in like 15 seconds, I'll do it again.
I love it.
And it's just, I don't know. I have no idea if people are even going to see it.
I noticed it immediately.
Yeah, there he goes again.
Immediately.
That it's just, and that was pretty easy to put together once, and I think that's a fun thing to throw on your own website.
It's so inspiring, and this is the stuff that I want. This is the stuff that keeps you up at night because you want to do it.
Yeah, I love that.
This. But also, I really appreciate everybody diving into the challenge, which again, the goal was to make a David Bowie poster, just so you know, right over here. This is how you entered. I love this little move right here. A David Bowie tribute poster. You could use these assets or not use these assets. We're just trying to make it easy on you. We're going to review those. We'll pick a winner tonight and award them with, or reward them with, let's refresh. Boom. With Creative Cloud.
Very cool.
Look at all this fun stuff. Some of them are still loading. Wow, we got a lot to review.
Yeah, awesome.
All of these. So we'll just start here up at the top with Sarah. Sarah Testers. Love it.
Yeah, that is cool. I really like the him, the central figure.
Mm-hmm.
And the color is really nice.
Yeah, I like the... Good job with the color. Strong and graphic. Ryan Doran's. Let's open this up. This one might be pretty large. Not bad.
Cool. I love this because you took the idea of the cover bands and everybody doing Bowie covers, and
I love this.
yeah, I think that's cool. It's a neat idea for a poster for this
Calling
kind of
all
event.
Bowies. So good. This is brilliant. This is so good. Great marketing right there. Juan Camilo Ramirez.
I like that you took his name and put the logo element of it up there.
This is really cool.
Yeah.
This was not part of our assets, but I
yeah, it looks
totally
really
dig
nice.
this.
It looks very retro.
And then
I like
all
having the
this
info
work.
in there.
Very cool. Don't you have the same outfit? I think I.
Yeah, I took it out last night.
Sorry, I didn't. Ahmed's.
A little too big for me.
Look at this. Oh, I love it.
I like this. I like the texture.
Yeah.
I like the framing of it.
I like how this was continued on. I don't know if the original photo had this texture, but yeah.
Yeah, it looks really nice.
Good use of color.
Agreed.
And it's such a striking image.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
Yeah. Really.
You really
into
can't
it.
go wrong with that image.
You can't. Yeah. So good. Fanny.
Oh my god, that's great.
Let me try to zoom. Let's try to get a whole. Awesome. Yeah, changing faces. Bowie drag experience for the ages.
I love that.
Cool.
I think that's really cool.
And just match up those blacks. And
Yeah, I like
be
it's
set.
the limited use of color is pretty nice there.
Yeah. Good job, Fanny. Kathy Limbarelli.
Cool. I like this a lot because the graphic elements are very simple. And I noticed those first and then I noticed the photo.
Yeah.
And I like both of the color versions.
Yeah, it is. I actually didn't notice the face as much.
Well, yeah, I did not notice it for at least a few seconds looking at it, and then it was like, so I like that because it's deceptively simple.
Yeah, I'm really into it. It's cool. Good job. Great graphic design eye. Good job. Okay, Sarah, we already...
Yeah, I think it was just
Let's
in there
just-
twice.
Right? Yeah. I mean, I guess added. Yeah, it's pretty much the same thing. Kimberly Nisinen.
Yeah, I like it. I like the simple graphics that are the flat, but also, putting the texture element in the background.
I love the use of color. I like that. It's sort of like that dark blue with that red.
Yeah, that looks really nice together.
And it does. It's like, this is a missing person. Are you out there? It's kind of how it feels.
David!
You know what I would love to see? What would be fun here is taking that lightning bolt over the eye and have it morph along the eye.
Oh, that would be cool.
And just the lightning bolt. It'd be fun. But Kimberly, great job. So many good pieces. Alexander's.
Love this.
Alexander's been using Illustrator since version 8 is what he
Wow.
said, I think. And he's in chat. Super strong.
Yeah, I really like it because it's so simple, but it is very designy. It's very clean and it has everything you need to know on it.
Yeah, I think it's good. Good work.
It's also nice. That's a nice photo.
Yeah.
Like I like the layout on this, and I like the colors. I think the type is a little all over the place.
Yeah.
It's like a typography's always been my weak point. You know, I'm definitely not an expert at that, but like you kind of want to rein in the number of typefaces you're using. And I see a couple. I think the
good. Maybe there's only 2.
I think, and then with the logo font, it looks a little bit.
It's kind of all over the place.
Yeah.
Like these are kind of floating, and I think they're kind of supposed to be floating. This is the part that I think is kind of messed up, right?
Yeah, I think just tightening that up.
Yeah. I mean, would it be better if they came out from that center, like they were coming from that central point?
Right.
But they kind of need to be grounded in such a way, because right now they're floating and.
Yeah, just like tie it down, I think would help a lot.
Yeah. But great job, and Tesla. Yeah.
Yeah, I just think you could push this one.
Yeah, have
just
some
keep
fun
going.
with it.
Add some more maybe typographic elements with the dates and stuff and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. Noel Charter. Cool. Yeah, have some fun with this too. You know, just kind of mix it up. Like, if something's too like centered, and it can get kind of boring, you know. So like, you just kind of need to mix it up some more. You know, maybe even if you took away an eye, it would already be you took away the right eye, it would already be a better.
And the same note, like with the typography on the bottom, I would just keep playing with that. I think having the diagonal split. I like the idea of that because I think it's coming from like the lightning bolt shape, but I don't think it's working typographically.
Yeah, typically you'd never have a point go to the corner. Like if I did that in art school, I'd get in trouble from my teacher, because it's like zip, there goes out it goes off the page.
Yeah, it takes your eye right off of it.
But if this, like to your point, if this mimicked the Thunderbolt, zip, zip, zip.
That could be a little
Very awesome. Have fun with the font. Know why you picked the font you did. This seems like it could go in a newspaper from 100 years ago.
Yeah, it doesn't really like say
it's
like
not like
Bowie.
Cool Bowie. Like even the one that we were picking on with the weird, with the type floating around was still almost the right type. I don't even know where it went.
It was there in the
this
middle.
One?
No, left side.
This one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is a good font.
Yeah.
I think it's like super fun.
Like of the era, kind of.
I like a retro. It's almost like a retro futuristic Bauhaus. I don't know. It's like all over the place, and so is Bowie.
It's a Bowie font.
It's a Bowie font. Okay, so that's the one we're looking at.
Yeah.
So many to cover. Ashi. I hope these reviews are helpful, and by the way, I'm just so glad people are getting involved.
Yeah.
I
awesome
love cutting off text, and I love taking out pieces of text and stuff like that. I kind of like how this is on the edge, even if it was over further, but it would have been too easy to center it. It would have been boring.
Right. Yeah, and I was like, you could even push that a little bit over so that maybe the lightning bolt is like even more clipped off on the right side. I think that would look good.
Yep. Agreed. So yeah, good job. This is a War Games computer font.
It's like a little bit techie computer looking. And yeah.
Just kind of good. You established good hierarchy there. I think it's nice.
Yeah.
Like we know
the
what
type
to read.
layout. Yeah, was good.
I love it. Experience Ultimate
This one
Festival.
is fun.
This is actually good. This is what I'm talking about. Like in terms of just playing with things.
Right.
You're playing with stuff.
Yeah.
You're seeing what works, what doesn't. I think that's fun. But yeah, same. Good job. Artem did a great job. Ooh, this one's cool.
Yeah.
Julian.
It's very cool. I think the layout is like it's like a very striking image.
Mm-hmm.
And also gets pretty much right to the point with the like prominent logo and then just the extra type on the bottom.
I'm into it. I like it looks like he's kind of looking down at
it, yeah, so you look
information.
down.
And so does this lightning bolt go down.
Yeah.
Kind of points. It's a good job of like leading the eye.
Yeah, the composition is really strong.
Really good. And good use of the burst there, because otherwise it would seem like kind of empty, and I don't know. I'm into this one.
Yeah, that one's cool.
Good job, Julian Dufour. Roman Torres. We got plenty of. There we go.
Very cool. I like it, seeing it live in a space.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
those
these are the
tickets
tickets
again?
from
Yeah.
yesterday. And then okay, here. I'm trying to get to this poster. Trying to
Yeah.
I
like the color, the gradient on the lightning bolt. Like it
I do
has
too.
like a nice retro vibe.
Yeah, that's I haven't seen a lot of that. I like it. I like that pattern. I almost want to see, since you're using that's the only place the gradient's being used, would you carry some of that gradient in on the yellow or something?
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
you don't
not
necessarily have to, but it's definitely worth trying.
yeah, just like if you're, it's, I don't know.
Yeah, or like just adding a subtle one maybe in,
It's almost
the
like there's-
background of one of the left or the right.
Yeah, it could just be from a really whitish yellow into more of a yellow.
Yeah.
But I think what's happening here is you have three different styles going on. You have photography, you have a gradation, and then you have flat. And you need to kind of combine it
Bring
together.
it together, yeah.
Bring it together.
Because I think the logo actually is the one, like, it looks a little out of place.
Yeah, and it does look like two. Yeah, that's a good point. But I love seeing it here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I like that a lot.
Roman, good job, Heather. All right, let me just kind of double check to see where we're at. We have this one. We have about 6 to view. Heather. That's cool.
Very cool. I like the pattern in the background. I like seeing that pattern get used. I think the colors are really good too.
And yeah, it's just such an interesting image. I'm just catching myself staring at the face.
Yeah.
I'm just mesmerized. And good use of color. Ooh, this one's fun.
Yeah. Again, I like
Cool.
I like people using that image, and it looks a little retro.
Mm-hmm. I love all the colors.
Yeah.
Good job there. And that was by Ashi as well. Cool.
I love that font.
Mm-hmm. This is again, Kevin Schneider's.
I like how simple it is. I would I don't know I feel like you could push this more. I don't whether that's like kind of some kind of subtle
Did anybody read Pavid when you first saw it?
I didn't.
Oh,
I can see why you would that. Yeah, you might noodle around with like the placement of the blue.
Yeah.
Because I think that is where you're getting that from. But yeah, like maybe opening up the space a little bit more between like the David and the Bowie too.
I love the idea, to your point, the font is so beautiful. Like, that font is an illustration in and of itself. And I think they easily recognized that, and recognized what's going to sell this concert, like David Bowie.
Right.
Right? Not
Yeah,
are
putting
you
that
out
info
there?
up
I kind
front.
of don't know what that is, but David Bowie,
Yeah.
into it. So great job, Kevin. And I agree with Eric. Sue says, why are you all so talented? Because we just gave this to them today.
Yeah.
They just, knocked this out. Don't tell your bosses how fast you are at doing this stuff. This is, sorry, I did not look at the name. Oh, Kevin's again.
I like this. I will say the logo, I like the idea of putting it there, but it makes it a little hard to read. I kind of like that performance areas part. I feel like that might be like a good zone for the logo to hang out in, maybe.
Yeah, I
It's
agree
a little
with
lost
you.
where it is right now, but the overall layout of this is very pleasing to look at, and I think the color is really nice.
This is really fantastic. I think maybe it could be tough to pull off text at a slant in different angles. Totally works.
Yeah.
I'm glad nothing's like a straight horizontal like line.
Using the lightning bolt for all of that, it looks really cool.
Yeah, love the colors. Love these lines in here. Whew, good stuff. I agree. Why are you all so talented? Roy Resendez. Ooh, this is, again, fun, electric.
Cool, yeah.
Zzz.
I like the layout, and I like that it's like, yeah, like more of a festival style poster with the days and like the bands. Like, I think that's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I also like that he's pointing up at the logo.
Yeah, that does work. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's cool. Tomorrow we have portfolio reviews, so roll these into your Behance portfolio. Meredith Piazza. Ooh, this is interesting. We have a couple different posters.
Yeah, I like to see the trying out different stuff. Like the cutout type, again, we like commented on that yesterday. And I like the idea of that.
Which one do you like?
I think I like the right-hand one more. It's a little bit more readable to me. Because the gradient background kind of, everything else is so flat that it's like the one thing that kind of stands out. It's a little distracting.
The one on the left, the gradient there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. This is so in some cases we've been given two posters. Like here's a couple different like not even color options, but it's like very much. Here I think they needed to curate and just give us one poster, and it should have been the one on the right.
Yeah. But
right.
It's good. I like seeing the experimentation because that is a big part of the process,
fun.
and you should always be like playing around with stuff. But I do think the one on the right is more successful.
Yeah. I agree. Fun gradient. Like how it's comped in here in the posters. Good work, Meredith. Getting down to our last one. That was it. So
awesome.
many. Whew, so many amazing ones.
Yeah, there's a lot of really awesome work here.
Do you have any like a favorite that sticks out to you right now?
I mean, I love the top middle one with all the faces.
Yes.
I thought that was a really smart concept.
Yeah.
I think the design on the one right below it, that was the drag show. I really like how that looks, especially like seeing it as a thumbnail. I'm like, it's still very striking.
And it's a fun idea.
Yeah.
Like I love the whole drag Bowie. And I was gonna think, okay, well they should they have used the Thunderbolt in the face? No, I think it would have been too obvious for that crowd. Like I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I agree with you.
You know.
I think they did exactly as much. And there's a lot of good ones.
So many good ones. I think when these images were used, great.
Yeah, fantastic.
Like it's such a striking image. This one actually is laid out very well.
Yeah.
Like that's strong.
And like using the symmetry and then like throughout the whole piece, like it's a really good composition.
Totally. Yeah. I like this one too.
Yeah,
as well.
I really liked that one.
So I like
Simple.
Kevin's.
I liked that one.
I
down.
know you like this
I like
one,
that
too.
one a lot. Yeah. I just like it's so simple
Kathy's.
and yet it isn't, and I think it's a really effective design.
Totally. And I agree. Like McNeil, I think in terms of concept, this one, if we picked one just based on concept, I think this one would win.
Just very clever.
And then where are you gonna see
that one? It's a top right now, right at the I think that one is just like so visually strong. Like it's just very intriguing. It's definitely something that if I saw it in passing, like I would want to get up close.
Yeah,
and see
it's
more.
like it actually gives a different vibe. It's a slightly like melancholy. It's just that look, not smiling, kind of looking down.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow.
Like I could see that being like an album cover too. Like
Yeah.
the basic design, which is pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. I'm really into it. Wow, everybody did such a good job. Thoroughly impressed. Oh wait, that's one they reviewed in the previous. A couple of these have they've worked on throughout the day, but totally worthy of showing again and again. And again, roll them into your portfolio. Tomorrow is all about portfolio reviews, and we'll pick a couple portfolios, and for each segment we'll be reviewing a couple of them. But great job. Everybody did a fantastic job.
Very cool.
Did you have fun today?
I had a good time.
Yeah.
I hope that you all did. Hope you learned things that were good.
Yeah.
That's my goal.
I like hearing you just kind of talk out loud. Even as we actually, can you tell us briefly, we have a couple minutes. Can you give us a preview of what we would be tackling tomorrow?
I don't want to get too
ideas?
deep into it, but I definitely I want to show you some of this stuff.
Oh yeah.
Kind of how I made some of these background elements. I had a lot of fun experimenting with this, but it is kind of a Pandora's box, so I don't want to. Here's all the many
Yeah, we don't want to scare you off.
settings in here, but yeah, this is something that is fun to play around with, and it looks super complex, but you don't have to be expert level particular user. This is made with Trapcode Particular, which is also a third-party plugin. But it is very powerful, very cool. Love Trapcode stuff, and there's a lot of possibilities. So I made this with it, and this. It's all using the same system.
I'm into it. I noticed this has an expression, but it might be fun to even.
Not this.
Does
yeah,
it?
this one has a.
Yeah, that one. It would be fun to just. I would love to. Me personally would love to see the simplest form of an expression. If you use just
Yeah, let's do it.
Wiggler on just a simple object. You don't have to do it right now.
Okay.
You can't.
But I
You
have
were
time.
really
I'm
excited.
ready to do it.
You were. I mean, you can.
We
but
got
I
a
think
little
it's
time.
Fun cliffhanger. All right.
This is just a quick one. We
Okay,
can
this is
use
just a
it in
preview.
a more intense
A
way.
preview means you don't have to finish it,
Yeah,
but you could
but
start
I'm
it.
gonna finish it.
Oh yeah, I love it.
So Wiggle. This is Intro to Expressions. I can recap all of this tomorrow, but for those who are still out there, expressions are basically little snippets of code, or maybe long snippets of code, but a lot of the ones that I use and to get started, they're super short, super easy to memorize, and add a little visual interest into whatever you're working on. And one of the first ones I learned that I still use pretty frequently to this day is the wiggle expression. And so how this works is to put on an expression on something. I want to put a wiggle on position. And what this expression is going to do is just add kind of a random vibrating movement to this. You can use it for a lot of different things, but if we put it on position, it's just going to add some kind of noise. It'll start moving around. There's no keyframes or anything. And to do that, so I have position open, and I'm going to zoom in. Whoop. And then I will option click on the stopwatch. So I'll Command Z. Instead of just clicking, which adds a keyframe, you don't want to do that.
Click.
You hold down Option and click. And you'll notice that this becomes red where it was blue before. If you Option click, it turns red, and it'll open up this little expression box here. So it says transformed opposition in there right now. But we're gonna get in there, and we're gonna delete that. And we're gonna type in, I'm gonna zoom in on this too so you can see it. Wiggle. And then I'll put, we put two numbers in here, and I'll do 5 and 100.
Wow. Is that X and Y?
Yeah, no. For this, it is the frequency, how often this will wiggle in a second, I believe. So this right now with a 5, I think is it'll wiggle 5 times every second. And 100 is the range. So this is what happens when you do this. It's keep going.
Work it.
So, if I want it to be way more distance, I can crank that up to 500. Now he's really going.
That's hands-free. She's not doing anything. That's one line of code, one function technically with 2 parameters, and it's done.
Yeah, super simple.
I'm so excited about this.
Maybe we
And you're
slow it
right, you were
down.
able to do it in a minute.
Yeah, so that was super quick.
Super proud of you.
We can crack that open with greater depth tomorrow.
For sure. Thank you so much, Caitlin. Join us tomorrow, 9 a.m. actually, with Christine and Kathleen doing graphic design, UX, UI design, into motion graphics, and all this fun animation as well. And find out tomorrow if Caitlin speaks French. That's your cliffhanger.
I do not.
Thanks so much. You have a good time?
Yeah. Did you?
Yeah.
Did you
I
learn
always
some
have a good
things,
time.
Paul?
Oh, I'm always getting real excited, and then my head will explode. But
Thanks,
not on
everybody.
camera.
Yeah, we save it for later.
Yeah. Thanks so much, everybody. Thank you, Evan, Joel, Anel. Join us tomorrow. Kevin, everybody's fantastic. We really appreciate you. Thanks so much, everyone.
Bye.